Welcome back to All Things Acura.
Are you Matt?
I'm Matt.
I'm Justin.
I'm glad.
We're back.
We're back again. After a hiatus, but we should have one in here.
Yeah, we'll get caught up to speed. We want to get everybody caught up on inventory. And again, the purpose of this is just to, if you haven't listened before, we're just trying to get out information that we know about Acura's production, what's coming this particular episode. We're just going to talk a little bit about the pipeline and what's on the ground, what that looks like. I meant to tell you earlier, I was listening to a podcast and I mentioned the name of it and I just completely forgot who that was. Doesn't matter. It's a popular one out there. A lot of people listen to it. It's probably one of the more popular ones out there at all. And he was talking with his cohort. And they were talking about Ford, and he goes, well, it looks like Ford's sales numbers were down quite a bit in July. Do you know why that would be? Is there something going on at Ford, or why would sales numbers be off? And I'm thinking to myself, somebody's not paying attention. How can you do a podcast on automobile industry and ask why the sales numbers are down? I mean, legitimately, weird. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a. I mean, he was legitimately asking why are sales numbers down
year over year, or just like for the period.
Like in generic, he's like, wouldn't they be up over last year? Wouldn't they be way better? You know, what's going on? They have a lot of great product. I'm thinking to myself, there's all kinds of problems right now. I mean, everybody. If you're in the business, you should know that the industry is having tons of production problems.
Yeah, that's
and
interesting.
He had no idea. I mean, he was like, I'm like,
yeah.
I kept listening just because I couldn't understand how he could do this all the time and not have any clue. And the gentleman that was talking about didn't kind of correct him, but he, was like, well, they're having troubles with some stuff, and he didn't. I don't think he even caught on to what he was trying to say.
Interesting.
But my point to that is there's so many people out there that if you're not in the market, you probably don't realize it.
Yeah.
And the only reason we're putting this information, not the only, we want to get the information what we know. We thought it'd be this is a helpful format to get kind of share with what we know. If you're in the market, kind of helps you know where to go. If you're not in the market, maybe you know if you want to wait or if you want to do something sooner. There's all kinds of pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
But just to get that information out,
right,
coming from the people actually getting the cars and delivering them to you versus the media, which they're going to make it what they want. They want to make a story out of it, right?
Or not getting the cars.
Or not getting the cars.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that so that we don't kind of go in blind, because I think sometimes people feel like, and I don't expect people to know, like that, your general customer, I completely understand. If you're not like in that market, you don't know that that's the case.
You're right. You don't. You don't unless you deal with it or went out to try to buy a car. You don't know. There's no. Yeah. And I don't expect those people. I know here every day in service. People sit in our service department and go, "Where are all the cars? What is this place doing? Are they going out of business?" No, but that just shows you if you're not paying attention to something. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but if it's not on your radar, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, buying cycles are, generally speaking, buying cycles are, 3 years or so, but generally speaking, about 5 years for most people. And so if you haven't bought a car in the past, year, then you don't necessarily know.
Well, year and a half. I think, what a lot of people don't understand is even year over year numbers we can't compare at this point because the inventory crunch started over a year ago. It was really spring of 21 when places really started to feel like the panic turned on. The light switch. We had 500 cars, and now all of a sudden it's dwindling down, and we're not getting any more. Yep. And that's when and so it's hard to even compare now, even year over year, because last year wasn't good, and this year's worse. And,
that's right. But there might be good news on the horizon.
Yeah. So, but this is optimistic news that we have for you today, and that's kind of what we want to make sure that we got out that information to everybody. There's been a great uptick in waiting to be available, but what we have seen are the order banks start to
almost increase.
Almost double.
Double is a relative term because double one is two, but
right. But if we had 10, and we're probably just using a number. If we had 10 on order now, we have 20. In our cases, some of these jumped quite a bit, which is really good to see. The other thing that's happening that's so far, it's good to see. Shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it.
No.
Yep, because that's going to sound terrible.
Don't.
I'm knock on wood.
We're gonna put it in the universe.
Is the production dates have not been moving back, and I know we have cars on our list there that Matt's looking at now. That some of those production dates started in the spring and still aren't built yet. And so now we've seen a lot of stuff that's gone in the system. Production dates have stayed the same, so that means things are happening.
Yeah, there's maybe more stability and maybe more confidence that they are going to be able to build that. You know, I think that was a big piece of it before. It's like maybe they were able to kind of build these, but they didn't want to like kind of promise.
Well, I think
them,
so, and I think that was a lot of let's under promise and over deliver at some point, because they're so. You know, they've been telling people, oh, we're going to have, cars are coming, they're coming, just hold on, they're coming. And then all of a sudden, it's been so long and they're not coming. Yeah. And so it's to avoid the heat, I guess, from customers, dealers, everybody, suppliers, they kind of just said, okay, we're not going to tell you what's coming. We're just not going to tell you until we have to. And so now we're starting to see stuff coming. So it's good stuff,
right?
I think.
Yeah, and not coming yet. Not like, you know, when Justin says that, it's not like hey, there's trucks rolling in like every day. It's like, hey, the production date, we're seeing more, and the production dates are staying steady between, you know, now and October, basically.
Yeah. So good news. MDX production's been pretty consistent throughout this month, as far as and I meant to say August. August has looked pretty consistent. There's quite a bit of production as we go out of August into the first and second week of September. And so far all those have been coming pretty consistently, so MDX is doing good. RDX we were nervous about, because RDX, you know, I'll give you a year ago or so, we had, you know, 50 RDXs on the ground or so, and things were coming at a pretty good clip. We have 0 RDXs right now. There wasn't much in the system. Matter of fact, on our last podcast that we talked about inventory, we even said that there's just no upper trims available. So if you're looking for an advanced or advanced A spec, there was nothing on the horizon. And I mean nothing. We had one left on order at that built. There was nothing. Well, since then, that has, I wouldn't say doubled. It's more than double. We went from 0 of those on order to
someone took the
20
list.
of them. Yeah, I think
the list is gone, but it's
to 20 advanced A specs. Keep in mind, those are 22 models in the RDX, 23 we're talking about on the MDX. But we did just place an order last week, so that'd be the week of the, what is that, the 15th, 15 something, of the 23 RDX. So now we're going to mix both.
I didn't know that happened. Okay, good.
So 23 RDX will be coming in probably October, November time frame. Until then, we're going to build out the 22s. And so far, they're coming along pretty good.
That's good.
So that's great news on the production front. So if you've kind of been waiting, sitting in the back and saying, gosh, I haven't had anything, I don't know what, start to look, start to inquire with your dealer. There's probably some stuff in the system. And I know that we've had a lot of pre-sold stuff and not much on the order bank. So a lot of the stuff was already spoken for. Now we have stuff that's available that's not far away. I mean, when I say not far away, 2-3 weeks.
Right. I would say like a month to, you know, maybe up to 2 months, but like that's still that's a short turn for what we're used to. So that's really great news. So I know it's funny, when I came back from vacation, I was like, holy crap, these really, the list really got longer. And to me, that's a good sign. Hopefully I'm not reading too much into that. You know, hopefully that means something.
It really looks like things are starting to move along. They're still having problems with logistics, whether that be logistics getting pieces, parts to the plants, and also transportation as far as getting cars to the dealers. So the challenge here is some of these cars I've seen, we've seen some Integras sit in transit for a number of time. You know, let's say a number of time. We should get them within a couple days, because we're like right down the road from almost, you know, a couple hours away.
Yeah.
And so we should get them pretty quick. And they've been sitting there for maybe a week to 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with more that there's just not enough cars being shipped out to one area or something.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's a lot more to it than what we'll know, but you know. Integra, hopefully we'll see. We saw some more orders go in the system. I don't see a huge uptick in production in Integra, but they're still clipping along. Probably even a little bit better than maybe, dare I say, Civic, because Civics have been really hard and slow to get.
Okay.
So I think Integra is doing pretty good for comparison as far as volume. TLX is the only one that I'm not very optimistic on. We'll see as we get into September and October, because that's what we have most of our dates on, what's left in the system. But I have not ordered a TLX since Hector was a pup.
And there's no advanced packages.
And there's none of the high trims. There's no advanced packages. Very few of the Type S models. I have a feeling what you see coming down the road of TLX will be 23 models.
Yeah.
They're done doing whatever they're going to do with 22 because they just haven't built that.
Yeah, there's no, at that point, there's no reason to.
Yeah.
And ZDX is coming probably.
And ZDX is right behind those.
Right behind those.
Right behind the TLX. So once the TLXs go down the line, the ZDXs will be right behind.
Yeah, if you listen to our last one, I think it's that we're.
Yeah, so we're joking about that because Acura just announced that the first electric vehicle will be called a ZDX.
Yep. So that
not to be confused with the ZDX from 10, 12 years ago, which was the SUV that nobody bought.
The one that no one bought, almost literally.
But apparently everybody wanted.
That's right.
But
yeah, so that one's right behind that. So,
I was listening to this one podcast, and hopefully you guys listen to podcasts. If you're listening to ours, hopefully you listen to
podcasts are good to listen to.
And they use the term, I have a gripe. I want to get out my gripe. And every time, so they always have a gripe. And, I
like that.
I like to say my gripe is once they announce the word ZDX, the name ZDX, it's going to be called ZDX, is that everybody all of a sudden loved the ZDX of yesterday.
Yep, that always happens.
So that's my gripe.
That's my gripe. Yeah, it's the nostalgia gripe.
It's the nostalgia gripe, which I know that's partly Matt's too, but
it is.
I was going to steal that as
that's fine.
My gripe.
Yeah. I totally forgot my little story about the ZDX. When I was in Canada for the Olympics back in 2010, there was commercials.
Yeah.
For a car called the ZDX. And I was like, ZDX? That was 2010. And I think they were announcing it as a new car. So if you watched one of our podcasts about that recently, we talked about the ZDX. But sorry, we do have some Canadian folk that listen to our podcast. So we apologize. It is the ZDX as well. So
yes.
It's just,
all of them.
All right, we'll get off that tangent.
So the new electric vehicle will be called the ZDX, and what you see out there in the world on Acura site is a prototype. That is not what the car is going to look like, nor is that car coming soon. So hang on to your money. If you're interested in it, we'll keep you posted as more information comes.
Hopefully I didn't get everyone all excited when I said that's right behind the
Right.
It's not.
Well, those TLXs could take a while, so
that's true.
It could be not too far behind it.
And I think the last thing, did you want to talk about any incentives?
Just real quick on the incentives. We were going over the incentives and we are in a new incentive cycle. Well, we were in a new incentive cycle. I'm sorry. It started at the beginning of this month. And the only thing I want to bring up in there, because incentives are few and far between. As everybody knows, there's dealers out there charging way over MSRP, and we encourage you to shop, do your due diligence. There are plenty of dealers that will sell at MSRP or close to it. There are not.
Yeah.
So you don't have to overpay. None of this $5,000-$10,000 over MSRP. If you're getting that, just go somewhere else.
Yeah, if they don't want your business.
Yeah, don't argue and negotiate that. Just to go somewhere else, unless you really want to buy from that dealer. I don't waste your time. So. Because I know you see comments all the time with people. I wouldn't buy one of those at $5,000. Well, don't.
Yeah.
Wait. Either wait or go to another dealer.
And really, if you tell another dealer that, they're might jump all over that and say, "Hey, we'll sell it to you for MSRP." I mean, it's all about. Yeah.
But what I wanted to bring up are the loyalty offers, because on the RDX, 22 RDX, 22 MDX, you still have $1,000 owner loyalty. I know there might not be many 22 MDXs left out there, probably none.
Yeah.
As far as new ones. We have been getting 23s for a solid month now. But RDX, there's plenty of those still coming in the pipeline. $1,000 owner loyalty. What's that mean? If you have an Acura 2012 or newer, they go back 10 years, in the household, doesn't even have to be your car. If that person just lives with you.
Or traded in, that's
it doesn't have to be traded in. You can keep the car. It can be your husband's, wife, spouse. It can be a sibling. It doesn't matter. Just needs to be in the household. You get $1,000 loyalty cash, which is nice that they're still doing that loyalty money. They want to try to retain those. They know that a lot of people were on the hook for the MDX when it switched from 22 to 23. So they're offering $500 for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to throw those out there. A couple different incentives. There are some other rates, different things going on. TLX, also has that $1,000 owner loyalty for the 22 model. And also don't forget recent college grad, and also if you're active military, there are some incentives for that can be applied across all models.
Yeah, don't forget about that.
So don't forget about those things. They can be combined. You can have owner loyalty, college grad, and military. I mean, you literally can stack all those together. So take advantage of that stuff. We don't have a ton of incentives, and I understand manufacturer can't build the car, they can't get it out there, they're not going to put a lot of incentives on them, but there are some available. So I know we have a couple comments. We've been way behind on the comments. Love the comments. Love everybody. Put your thoughts in there. If there's something you want to hear about as far as what we know, ask us the questions, because that kind of steers the ship.
And it's hard to sometimes we try to comment back on some of the comments, but there's too many, and you could spend all day doing that. Sometimes it's nice to address them in the actual podcast or YouTube if you're watching it that way, however you're consuming this information. So first of all, I just want to say thanks. I made the video on the garage door opener. We've gotten a lot of views and comments on that. Thank you guys so much for commenting and watching that. It's funny because I think there's a lot of people who felt the same way I did when I made that, because I couldn't find anything about how to pair my garage door either. So I said, you know what? I know how to do it. Let's just make it. So that was an older one. But thank you guys so much for commenting on that. So hopefully that's been super helpful. And the one question, which we meant to just research this, but Benny asked, does this particular model, so he's referring to the video that, I think, Justin, you did this one, on the A-Spec Integra.
Oh, right.
Whether or not you could add remote start. Meaning, can you add it later? Because it does not come with it. So, and I believe you can. So, I think do
we answer that?
Well, we can double check to make sure.
You can add the remote engine start to that.
The only reason we were kind of skeptical at first was because there's been some things that we've been surprised about.
Yeah, and that's why I did that Integra video. Interesting. I tried to find information before we got the car, and when I say Integra, it's the Integra without the technology package.
Yeah.
And a lot of the media was only given Integras with the technology package.
Oh, interesting.
Or if they were given the other ones, they didn't do videos on them.
Well, right.
So there's very little actual, can I see what that looks like type information out there. Right. So when that came in, I said, well, I don't even know what it looks like. I'm going to do a video on that. And it was surprising what we didn't know in some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that happens a lot when the cars come in and we finally have a chance to put our hand. It's kind of like when you read something, but you can't contextualize what you're reading until you actually are able to put your hands on it. So,
and that it holds true with things like, it's funny with cars. Manufacturers never tell you what you're not getting, right? They only tell you the list of what you are getting.
Right.
And unless you have your list of what you want and cross-reference it,
right,
or vice versa.
Yeah.
They never go back and say, "Oh, by the way, the previous generation had this, and it's not coming with that anymore."
Yeah, like Sirius XM.
Right. So we notice those things, but you on paper you just don't until you get in the car and feel it. It's hard to.
Right, and when you're in car sales, you don't want to be caught with your hand in your pocket and not
right. Well, so the one feature, I guess I'll just bring up, Matt just said it, is Sirius XM. I mean, it doesn't come with that, which I don't know. It's not a deal breaker. It won't be a deal breaker for me. You can stream it on your phone. You can use it, whatever.
That's true.
There's other ways you can do it.
There's means,
but the car's not equipped with it.
Right.
And we're like, whoa, because we thought that's kind of like a staple on cars.
Yeah.
Right. It's been around forever.
Right.
I can't believe that Sirius XM didn't say, hey, how much does it cost Acura to get that put in there so we can sell it?
Right.
I mean, but it wasn't there, and we wouldn't know. There's no way we wouldn't know.
Do you know the other thing and you may already know this, but memory seats was another thing.
I knew that. That was on the list.
Yeah, was it? Okay. I that one kind of bothered me a little bit. Just, I know we'll have this video later.
So we're going to do a video on some of that, just because we feel that, and it doesn't make the car a bad car. It's just, you want to know, right, what you don't know. And I think that's the part of knowing whether that's the right car for you. I'm the worst person to ask about a lot of that stuff, because a lot of that stuff I don't care about. Like, I never subscribe to XM and stuff, and if I wanted to listen to it, I'd do the same thing. I'd listen to it on my phone and stream it or whatever. So a lot of that stuff isn't important to me, but I know that it's hot on a lot of people's shopping lists.
Right. Well, it changed someone's mind for me the other day. They went to a tech package because of the Integra because it didn't have the memory seats. And
interesting. What makes the Integra unique? I guess why we're kind of on the subject a little bit is the Integra with the technology HVAC package comes with quite a bit of stuff. It's a nicely equipped car.
Right.
And so it's amazing how much you'll lose, I think, is part of it.
Well, I think from our standpoint, we're like, well, why do we even want to order the other ones? Because you really, for like $3,000 more, you get more than enough stuff. The car's well under 40.
And you know what? The other piece of that is I never want to be that salesperson.
Yeah.
It's always trying to sell the most expensive model. Matter of fact, I hate that because I'm not interested in that stuff myself. So when they ask me about advanced package, when you ask me about advanced package, I'm going to tell you why you probably don't need that. And you don't need that. It's a lot of stuff, right? It's the kitchen sink in most cases with these cars.
Yeah.
I don't use a lot of that stuff. Do I like bells and whistles? I love bells and whistles. I love techie stuff and bells and whistles.
Sure.
But I don't need it on my car because I'm more worried about how the car drives. And so that car irks me a little bit because I can't go into the regular model and say it's got a lot of great equipment on it.
Yeah. Because there's some things that's missing. It's core things.
It's missing some of those key accurate pieces.
So, and who knows if that'll change. Anyway.
I'm still going to tell you not to spend your money on it, and then you're going to look at me, why don't you want me to spend my money on it?
And then you will anyway. So, I do like this comment. The suede seats are a downgrade, in my opinion.
Well, go ahead.
Acura should have just kept the perforated leather / synthetic leather from the ILX with added ventilation function.
So I did mention that in the video because I mentioned how I actually like the seats. See, this is what you learn about looking at these cars. I like the seats in the regular one, and I don't think that upgrading into the suede is an upgrade.
Sure, it's a difference, but I don't know about upgrade. If you're paying that much more, I don't know. About the cooled seats too. The ILX didn't have cooled seats before, but maybe they could have added. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not a cold seat person. I mean, it gets hot here, but it.
Yeah,
none of them work that well.
Was there anything else? Any other comments that you saw? Let's see.
No hybrid. Touch on that real quick. And gosh, I should have mentioned this in the ZDX video, but. We won't see many hybrids. So Acura is really going to be what Honda says the tip of the spear for electrification. In other words, they're jumping the hybrid gap. There probably won't be. I'll be reluctant to say that we might not see a hybrid model if there is maybe a variant of a hybrid model because they're really trying to get to the electrification faster, and they're going to take our product from petrol or ICE engines to electric. So we probably won't see much hybrid. And not that you were asking, I think you were just disappointed that there wasn't a hybrid. But there probably won't, just in case.
And Acura kind of went down that road already, and it wasn't like a successful road by any means. They didn't really. We didn't sell a lot of hybrids. And it's funny. I talked to someone earlier that it's a client of mine. They have the hybrid CRV. And they cannot stand it. They just don't like the way it drives compared to the regular one. So it's one of those things where I think the electrification is obviously the future. There's no point in trying to go down this hybrid road that I think maybe some people want them to go down, but it's just not going to happen. So.
And then I just want to shout out to
Plasma. Plasma.
I think we tried to say that before. We didn't.
Dadal. Plasma Dadal.
And I know he's been a huge. I don't know. Maybe he's not a fan, but maybe he is a fan. He's a good supporter.
Yeah.
And so.
Commenter
and I think he did us a little Superman badge, and we're new to YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're not sure what that means, but I think it was a great compliment, and thanks so much for being there. Yeah. And hopefully you got some value out of this, and you're getting some value out of it. And to the other gentleman's comment that we like to hear our self-talk, it has nothing to do with hearing our self-talk. Matter of fact, we're not people that want to talk all day.
In fact, I can't even listen to this.
Right. We just want to get you the information, and we probably should do more of them and little bit information, but listen to what you want to listen to. We're not trying to sell you one of these. If you want to buy one, then great. This might be a great source where you can get some information on the product, production, and different things that are happening.
Yeah, and the more I thought about that, the more I'm like, well, he's watching on YouTube, and there's not a lot to watch here. But we got to remember, if you're listening to a podcast, we have to fill the airtime with our hot air coming out of our mouth.
This is true. Yeah.
Dead time.
So yes, Matt, that just happened. Our camera just ran out of memory space, and we just got cut off. So that was our cue to say this is the end. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Please subscribe, comments, questions. If you have anything else we can help you out with. Sorry for the bad audio in this one. We had some challenges today, but we got through it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much.